And welcome back, footy fans, to another episode of Donnie's Disposal. I'm your host, Coach Donnie Hess, here with a very, very unique and fun show that I thought I had to do this because I go back and forth with my co-host a lot about this because we are both a little bit of AFLW nuffy. So we thought, let's take our nuffiness to the extreme. We are going to do a fun mock draft of the first round of the AFLW draft. It is coming up Monday night in Australia, very early Monday morning for me over here in the States. So I thought, let's have some fun. Let's get Liam on the podcast. Let's talk some draftees. Let's talk some draft, and let's have a fun little back and forth mock draft to see who we like and who we don't. Liam, thank you for hopping on the podcast today.
That's all right, Donny. My pleasure. I've been doing a couple of these mock drafts at the expense of sleep, and I'm currently working on one which will be out before the draft. That'll be a full mock draft, so I can't wait to have a bit of fun outside my own head and having some fun with someone whose head is spinning as much as mine, no doubt.
Yes. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at a couple of different things, and we spent probably a good 10-15 minutes before we even turned the mic on talking different thought processes, different ways we look at it. So this is going to be quite the interesting thing here. So I'm going to break it down quite simply. Liam, on your thoughts process, as we kind of said, this is a very even draft. This is a draft where, as you kind of said before, we're really going to find out on draft night how people are looked at because there are some players in here that are ranked really high in certain ones and not as high on others. So I'm very fascinated your thought process because this is going to be an interesting draft that could have quite the interesting interactions between some of these clubs.
Yeah, look, I place a very high value on fit, I will say as well. So my mock is very heavily influenced by that. But yeah, clubs will vary wildly. And a lot of clubs aren't taking a lot of picks into the draft either. I think there's only going to be about 50 picks. And a lot of that will be Brisbane and Gold Coast snapping up their own academy players because they each have 5 list spots available. Brisbane, I think, have 4 academy players they'll want to wrap up, and they'll take probably at the end of the first round 1 national pick because Gold Coast can't make any bids on the Queensland nominated players. So they'll probably have to match 1 bid and then just take probably a defender, to be honest, at the end of the first round. Don't want to spoil anything. You'll have that pick as well, so don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, this draft is just really fascinating. To be honest, I think we're not going to see many mock drafts that are right, and especially once you get out of. I think this draft has a top 6, which I think they kind of order within themselves, and then after that, you could have 7 to 45, even 50 players will be spat out and scattered any order like you've dropped a bag of flour on the floor.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So we're going to do a neutral draft. We're going to start off. We decided so we both didn't have to worry about our club being picked by the other, with me being Sydney and Liam being a huge Hawks fan. We thought we'll do it to where we make sure. So it will be odd number picks will be yours truly, Coach Hess, and even number picks will be Liam's. So without further ado, sir, I don't think we should waste any more time. Let's jump right into it. The first pick overall, number 1, Coach Hess has it. And if this wasn't for the pre-signing periods and a couple of state league situations, we would maybe have a different. But number 1 in this situation will be quite easy for the Western Bulldogs, and I think they will take Christy Lee Weston Turner, the double hyphen from the Western Jets and also out of Vic Metro for the number 1 pick. I think this is going to be relatively easy. Do they use the entire time? Not, but I mean, elite athleticism and a lot of upside coming from this young woman.
Yeah, I really like the look of Weston Turner. She's big. She's a key forward who can go on ball as well. It's a rare combination, rare mix. The Dogs just need talent, pure and simple. I'll be honest, I don't think they're going to be a very good team next year. They were bottom of the ladder. Yes, they had a lot of injuries, and then they gave up a lot of really good players. So I think they're going to be very happy that they're going to be at the high end of next year's ridiculously loaded draft. Let's say that. But the double hyphen, Christy Lee Weston Turner, great pickup, freakish athlete, long kick. She could slide a little. She hasn't played a lot of footy this year, but put it this way, if she's available to West Coast at 2, she's not available to JWS at 3.
Mm-hmm. All righty. So number 2, West Coast. Who do you think the Eagles are taking with their pick?
This one's difficult for West Coast. I think I've got 4 names in mind, to be honest. And it would be 5 if Alicia Pisano had nominated national as well. It'd be, in fact, I'd probably be taking Pisano if she'd nominated national because West Coast can't score and Alicia Pisano certainly can.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke Barber could be a great fit in the midfield, but coming off an injury, I do think she maybe slides a little bit. I'm going to go Elaine Grigg because she gets up and down the ground. She's a half forward who can go on ball. She's really young. She's got an incredible amount of upside. She's a bit bigger than Barwick as well. And as the December birthday, she grows into her body a bit more. I think it's a little bit of a fly, but the Eagles have another first rounder to go safe. And then they've got Georgie Cleaver coming as a key forward with their third and final pick before the Dockers have a chance to take the WA nominated talent. So I think Grigg's a great fit at West Coast. And I think Daisy Pearce won't be able to wait to throw her into the team, I don't think.
It'll be fun. Elite level speed. Love watching her. Tackle pressure absolutely through the roof. So very, very good pick there with some of the talent that they have. I like that. I like that pick. I had mine and my mock was a little bit different, but again, we're going every other. So it's not about personal opinion here. So that puts me on the clock with GWS. And I think because Brooke Barwick is there, I think it is too tasty not to take it. So I think GWS will kindly love this particular trade-off here. They will take Brooke Barwick, the midfielder out of the Tassie Devils, a little magician, not a big player, but one of those with insanely great silky skills. She'll be fun to watch there. So GWS will draft Brooke Barwick out of the Tassie Devils. So
yeah, I think it's Grigg and Barwick at 2 and 3, and the order's a coin toss, to be honest. I think if the Eagles take Barwick, I reckon the Giants take Grigg. So I think that's my opinion. I think Barwick is a terrific fit at the Giants as well. Mm-hmm. You know, Alicia Eva turns 33 in April. Just being able to bring Barwick through with Eva for a couple of years and then Eva can hand over the reins in the middle. I think the Giants would be very happy with that. And West Coast will be happy with Grigg. So as always, everyone's going to leave the draft happy.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how the rest of the Western one goes. So, all right, back to the Western Bulldogs. This time you get to draft for the Doggies. And I think I already know who their pick is going to be, but I will let you have that pleasure. Number 4 for the Western Bulldogs.
Before the trade period, I mocked her to them at 1, Alicia Pisano. Easy pick. Hits the scoreboard like a few other players can. Small forward, incredible left boot, quick. It would be a big dilemma if she'd nominated national. There would have been a big dilemma for the Dogs, I think, at 1, because she just hits the scoreboard like no one else in this draft, frankly. It was really impressive for Box Hill in the VFLW. It was great for Metro in the championships. Terrific for Eastern Rangers. Really fun to watch. The kind of player who can do nothing for 3.5 quarters and then kick 4 goals in the second half of the last to win the game off her own boot. Dogs will be really happy to add her and Weston Turner. That's 2 very important parts of their forward line going forward dealt with, and they can now look to other positions in the rest of the draft.
Definitely, for sure. I'm with you on that one. So that puts me at number 5 with the Melbourne Demons. This is interesting for me because there's a couple of different ways I can go on this. I mean, unfortunately, like I said, the one that I really loved and that I think Melbourne would love to have at this point is Piper Window. But again, I don't think if she was available, she would be making it that far anyways. I think I'm gonna stay. I think I'm gonna stay up there, and I agree with you with one of the top 6. And I think Jess Wrench of the Greater Western Victoria Rebels, she has that ability to go off that halfback line. And losing Libby Birch, I think some depth on the defensive side. She can also go into the midfield too. So I think this is one of those. I think Melbourne will like this ability for this young lady to fall to them. So Jess Wrench of the Greater Western Victoria Rebels will join the premiers of 2 years ago with the Melbourne Demons. So, and back to the Doggies at pick 6 for you here, Liam. Where are they going here?
Player I really want at Hawthorn. If we can orchestrate a Sirhoy slide, that'd be very appreciated. I don't think that's happening. Caitlin Sirhoy. For me, when you were picking at 5, I knew if you were taking one of Wrench or Sirhoy, I'm just going to take the other. And I think that's what the Dogs will do as well. Sirhoy is a big midfielder, a freakish athlete. She's played in defence a bit as well. Played on the wing, was all Australian in the championships. To me, though, I look at her athletic attributes, and that screams to me matchup problem in the forward line. So I reckon the Dogs will have some fun. If they get Sirhoy at 6, they're going to have a lot of fun experimenting with what they can get her to do over the coming years and seeing where she can be molded into. Because I think she could be anything. I mocked her to the Hawks at 5 in my initial preseason mock or pre-trade period mock. And I just think she's a real talent. The West Australian, I'm up to. I reckon she'd be if she, she's a perfect replacement for Casey Sheriff if she goes to Melbourne at the Dogs. She's just a ripper of a player,
Mhm.
and the Dogs are in dire need of talent, and Caitlin Surhoy is exactly that.
Yep, will not disagree with you on that one. So we jump to, if I remember correctly, it is Carlton with
Yes.
pick 7 in this one. And for me, this is interesting because I we had we had a discussion, and you very much had a certain player in mind, but for me I think it's actually the opposite end of the ground that I think they're going to need a little bit of help. They still have Mia Austin, they still have Darcy Vesio. I think their forward line is okay. I'm a little questionative of them dropping Mua Lewifi. So I think they draft defensively, and I think they use this ability to be able to grab somebody that is a big tall defender that I think will really help. I think Cleo Buttafant is exactly a perfect fit here. They don't have to worry about the Giants matching the bid because it is high enough. There's no pick close enough. I think Carlton takes the risk. They take Cleo here. They get a big body defender to be able to go back there to fill the hole now that Mua has been let go from the club. I think this is a perfect addition for the Carlton Blues. So Cleo Buttafant from New South Wales in the Giants Academy will be Carlton's pick at 7.
Yeah, needs to brush up on some fundamentals, but she hasn't played footy for long. I do think it's a terrific flyer on some upside, and frankly, with where Carlton are at right now, they can afford to take a flyer on that kind
Mhm.
of upside because they'll probably draft a midfielder later in the draft, and that's a much safer pick. Again, we might discuss that quickly. Our own personal mocks at the end. I do have them taking a different player at the other end of the ground,
Mhm.
but it's at that same end of the ground. I've got pick 8 with Collingwood now. Where Collingwood, they are in dire need of defenders. But that being said, I'm going to go with an outside midfielder who can roll into defense because Michaela Williamson is getting too good to pass up at this point.
Yep. She was the other one I was looking at potentially of taking with this pick. And I think in my mock that I think I had Carlton going for the young Danny Young Stingrays midfield defender. I think this would be a great addition here on that one. So the first of Collingwood's 2 consecutive picks in a row off the board, Michaela Williamson, a nice little addition here. So over to me, and I think this is one of those where I sit and I kind of look at mine, and honestly, I think one of the things that they were missing this year is a little bit of flash and a little bit of pizzazz. And I'm trying to find her name in my list here for some weird reason. There she is, the small forward with a little bit of pizzazz. I think the Bendigo Pioneers is Lilia Keck. I think will be the next selection here. You get some talent, you get some athletic ability up in the forward line. They've got Norris Dalton, they've got Sab Frederick, they've got the tall targets. I think they need a little bit more pizzazz in this. So I think Lilia Keck of the Bendigo Pioneers here to be the second of the 2 picks by the Collingwood Magpies here. So that is going to be the pick at 9. Over to St. Kilda at 10. Liam, what do you got here?
That's a very nice pick, by the way. I did mock Keck to St Kilda at 10, actually. So I can't take her here. So this is what's fun. This is why I suggested this to you because we've both done mocks and we're all getting thrown around.
Yep.
The first thing I'm going to do as St Kilda, I'm going to buy myself some time. I'm going to bid on Evie Long. Liam puts on pick 20 Brisbane hat and matches that bid. So at pick 20, I'll be taking Evie Long, matching the bid from St Kilda.
Yep. So we will.
So
So we will
I've written
do.
it down. Yeah, I've wrote pick 20 will be Evie Long. We can talk about that when we get to pick 20. But
Yep.
St Kilda will make a bid here, if nothing else, to buy themselves some time, knowing that Evie Long has nominated National.
And conveniently, you also do the pick that you would have had later.
Yeah, it was my pick, so that's why I was comfortable. It was easy to do.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right. So Evie Long, a great addition there. So all right, back to St. Kilda since they matched the bid. What would St. Kilda then go after that?
I've got 2 options here. One is a bit of a flyer on a defender with incredible athletic upside, 180 centimeters, moves beautifully. And then the other is a key forward with incredible hands. And I'm going to go with the defender. I'm going to go with Emily Goff. It's a bit of a flyer on some upside, but I think her athleticism is incredible. She defends, she marks, and I just think it's a flyer. But I reckon the Saints will be all over the opportunity to bring her along and really let her drive them out of the back line She defends. She could be one of the most complete defensive prospects if you give her a few years. She's very raw, but she's tall, she's quick, she's strong. She has all the attributes to be one of the best defenders in this competition. And the Saints have the time to bring her along. And I think they'll take that flyer on Goff and let her come along.
I'm totally not seeing her on my list here.
She seems a long way down a lot of boards, but I know
Oh,
there are.
Emily Golf. Yep. Yep. I had the wrong spelling. Yep. I had seen, yeah, when I was going through, yeah, she was one that I had heard was getting a lot of talk with her ability to kick. That she's got quite the fantastic boot there. So yeah, I think in a couple of mocks I even had her. So I had her in around in this area as well. So definitely for sure. All right, so we'll jump to the fourth pick for the Western Bulldogs in the top 15. And we have at pick 11 here for the Western Bulldogs. I'm kind of just looking at a little bit of some of my previous mocks just to kind of see about where I was going with this on that one. I think that's probably not a bad idea. Looking at one of mine here, so we'll jump back up to it. We'll stay in Victoria as well. Also a Vic nominated one, somebody that can go on the backside, but can also go into the midfield. Out of the Geelong Falcons, I think this is where the Western Bulldogs take Chloe Adams. I think is a great addition here because you can again you can go through the midfield with her, and she can go back where they have a little bit of depth again. Trying to spread out this talent amongst the field, I think will be absolutely fantastic for the doggies here. So Cleo Adams will be the pick here for the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, I really rate Adams, and in my mock, she slid a fair bit further than this just because of her Vic nomination and a couple of other picks. Like that's the thing with the W draft, and especially one this even. If you slide a couple of spots, you might wind up sliding 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because then there were a few Queensland nominations, a couple of clubs where she wasn't a great fit, and then all of a sudden it's pick 26 and North Melbourne are you kidding me? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So no, Adams is a terrific pick. My first mock had her at St Kilda at 10. I think she's a terrific fit. She's a Jamie Lambert clone, I think, who can play a couple other positions as well.
Mm-hmm.
I really like her. I think, yeah, that's a smart pick from the Dogs. They might concede some cricket scores next year with picking forwards and midfielders out of this draft.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Next year's draft is loaded. They can deal with that next year.
Or pick up some high caliber defenders early. No, they definitely found that one. All right, so we'll jump to 12. The Melbourne Demons with their second pick in the first round here. Where are we looking? Where are we looking, Liam?
Midfield's been hit hard. I'll take Ellis Slocum. Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too. She was still sitting there. She was one of them that I thought about with that last pick, but I knew that there was a little bit of, I think, some defensive help needed for the doggies in this one. So I think this is one of those. This is a great pickup here. Again, it just shows you how deep this draft is, that Ellis Slocum can fall all the way down to 12. She's probably a top 10 caliber player there. So that one.
Melbourne need midfield. They need defenders. So
yep. So
they'll use other picks on defenders and midfielders like that. Slocum's too good to pass up at 12.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you on that one. So trying to keep track of all of these picks sometimes is fun. So please bear with me if you're listening to this one. So, and one of the players that I really would love to take here is not in the right part of the ground for this one. So we're going to go down just the littlest bit. And I think trying to find, again, this is live podcasting sometimes can be fun on this one. I think I've got her. Yep. So I think that would probably be a really good selection here. Again, Richmond is the next pick at 13, and I think they're going to need just a little bit more defensive help. I think forward they're fine. Midfield, I think the return of Ellie McKenzie, I think, could see them try to go defensive. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of a flyer, a tall defender here, an Amber Shutt of the Gippsland Power. I think here. I think she would be a great addition here. They need some size in the back end. Rebecca Miller cannot do it all herself, and sometimes with a couple of these teams having multiple bigs, I think this is a great addition there. So Amber Shutt of the Gippsland Power will be the pick at 13 for the Richmond Tigers.
Great pick. Outstanding. She's a bigger version of Emma Carney, in my opinion, the way I watch her play. She's an attack-minded defender. She zones off, slightly undersized key back, but she is superb. Again, I had her further down the board. coincidentally, I had her at North Melbourne as well, actually, funnily enough. So North Melbourne, if North Melbourne get her, though, they will be very happy because that's an Emma Carney clone to learn from Emma.
That's Emma Carney's heir.
Yeah,
It's Emma Carney's
I
heir there.
agree. I really like the look of her. She is someone who might jump the board. Like I think Richmond jump up and grab her because Richmond's mission is get Mon Conti help in the middle, but they wanted that person to be Eilish Sheeran. So basically, what their mission is: can we get a defender? Or, and again, my mock had me. I reached a bit for a midfielder defender who is an inside mid at one level, but at the championship played defense in Kiara Wiley. And I think that's the kind of thing they're going to go for. They're going to go for someone who can put Eilish Sheeran into the middle, so she can be the one who helps Mon Conti. And shoot, is an outstanding pick at 13. It's clever drafting. Again, she'd probably be there at 17 if the Tigers had 17, but it's an outstanding fit. And at the end of the day, 70% of your list plays every week. You've got to draft players that fit.
100% on that one. So I liked your look, and like I said, I think defensively they needed a little bit more defensive help on this one. So this is one of those defender, a solid one available at there. You're not probably in the mood to try to test Brisbane and trying to bid for a winger to maybe give Dempsey a little bit of help on the wing. So I think this is a great pick here. All right, so 14 gives us the West Coast Eagles, another pick here. Your thoughts on this, Liam? Who is finding themselves out west?
I think this is a slide. This is a big slide for me. They're getting a really good player at 39 because that'll be their final pick in Cleaver, 38, sorry. Georgie Cleaver's terrific player, but they're getting her at 38. However, she's a forward ruck, and that ought to be a rotation with Lauren Wackfer. And if I'm honest, I'm a little worried. I really rate Sarah Lekay. I think she might be up for trade at the end of next year, and I reckon Geelong should be all over that just quietly as a replacement for Erin Hoare. But I'm trying to get her first name now. Can I have Georgia Clark, please? At pick 14, this is a bargain.
But the thing though is, if you're gonna take Georgie Cleaver though, do you really want to take take another pretty much full forward in that situation? So it's not a bad idea. So all right.
Clark works up the ground. She's a contested marking beast. Cleaver's a forward who rucks as well. So that's the ruck rotation. And then you have a 3-pronged forward line of Cleaver / Wackfer, Clark, and Amy Franklin. You are set for a decade.
Wow. And the crazy part about it is that I know you and I went back and forth because you asked me who I had Sydney taking. And I told you that young lady that you just took was, and I thought it was gonna come true. I seriously thought it was gonna come true.
I think 14 is Clark's floor, to be honest. I don't think Clark gets past West Coast.
I agree with you. I think somebody takes a flyer. Wouldn't even be surprised if Collingwood they're at 9 probably if they don't want to go small forward, if they want a leading full forward type. I think Georgia Clark goes there. I completely agree with you. But I was just chuckling. I was sitting here going, is Georgia going to get to me at Sydney at 15? So I was when you said it.
As soon as you announced your 13, I knew who I was taking 14. So that was pretty quick.
All right. Well, like I said, so which just kind of is perfect because in my other one, I liked your idea on this one one of your original mocks, and I agree with if Sydney gets here and there isn't another big forward, I think this is an easy one for them. I think Sarah Gruden out of the Calder Cannons will be the pick for Sydney. They need that other good-handed, great marking forward behind Beck Privatelli. I think this is a great addition here. Sarah Gruden will be the Sydney Swans pick here at 15, since Georgia Clark unfortunately falls one pick short of getting into the Swans. So, all right, Liam, your beloved Hawks, who will they take in this situation now with Sarah Gruden now off the board?
I wouldn't have taken Grundon anyway, not because I don't rate her as a player. It's not a great fit at the Hawks because we've got a couple of players who are pretty similar. We've got Bridie Hipwell, we've got Anya McDonough, but they're both very athletic, tall forwards, and if we might want to, and then Jess Vukic as well potentially. It could create a tall forward line here, but I think, and again, this will be a reach to some, but I really like strong marking forwards, 180 centimeters plus, good kick, gets up the ground well. I like the look of Sophie Butterworth, and I'm going to take her here. She's got terrific size. And she could provide a real focal point for the Hawks up forward and allow them to really build a really strong, really athletic forward line with tall players and small players around her for a long time to come.
And a Vic nominated too. So she's definitely staying around there. So yep, not a bad pick there at all. Definitely fitting in. We'll jump to 17 with Geelong here. And for some people, this would seem a little bit odd, but for me, I'm one of those that I think this is one that the women's game is just a little bit different. So I'm going to go with the Geelong's father-daughter selection, and Bridie O'Rourke will be the Geelong selection here. For some weird reason, I've noticed in the women's game sometimes, especially with the father-daughter selections, is that sometimes they just take them. They don't worry about the bidding system. They don't worry about messing about with that. So I'm just going to do the same thing here. Geelong, the father-daughter selection, Bridie O'Rourke of the Bendigo Pioneers, the midfield forward, will find her way to her father's club with the Cats. So we jump to 18, and I don't really even have to ask because you and I off mic already agreed 18 is probably the easiest selection of easiest selections in the entire draft as Port Adelaide get.
Piper window. That was, I will quickly say one thing about your 17 though, and why I found it a bit interesting. Geelong could match a bid from 8 at 18. If Port bid at 18, they could match O'Rourke, and Port can't bid anyway. So I found that quite interesting that you just because you can match within a round. So Geelong's second rounder is 33, 35. I think they could. Let me check exactly what it is. It's not 35. It is. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. They've got one. It's 32. So they could beat you in the second round.
Yep.
So interesting you just take her though. It's fine. Like it's smart. Sometimes you just got to get the player, and if she's best available, you just take the player and you go around again in the second round.
Yep.
So. Yeah. So I'm taking Piper Window here. I would take her at 1 if she'd nominated national. She is a star. She is one of the best. She is one of the best players in the pool. She would, in my opinion, I think I had her 4th of the fully open pool. I had young Goody Stone ahead of her, and then Window at 4. Best player in the available draft. Pick 18 almost feels like a robbery. Taking her this far down. The Power will be really happy they stayed inside the Crows. That was all they needed to do for Piper Window. They've only got 2 list spots, I think, at the moment. So if their second pick isn't a defender, they need their heads read because they conceded a lot of points last year and they've bolstered their midfield and forward line. Not that it's a problem because that's where the ridiculous talent was. That's what they needed to do. That talent you can't decline no matter where it is. Like that talent is too good to pass up irrespective of fit. But later in the draft, they'd better be taking a defender because otherwise they will be conceding some real big cricket scores. So, but Piper's way too good to pass up. Even though they need a defender, Piper is way too good to pass up here.
Yep. And this is one of those that you could tell in that monster 11 team trade. This was the one thing that Port Adelaide said when they went into it is that we can't. The biggest thing that they wanted to do is make sure that they had one pick in front of Adelaide because then they knew not only were they getting Young, not only were they getting Goody, not only are they getting Brooksby, now you're getting Christy Lamb, and now you add Piper Window. I mean, this is just this one pick right here really sets Port Adelaide up with a massively bright future with 3 of the top 5 players in this particular age bracket. And technically Matilda Schultz should have been in this age bracket. So there's 5 players of their future right then and there. So 100% this was, Port Adelaide's probably got the piece of paper written down. They're just waiting for Geelong to finish their pick to hand it in. So that was
and they will be sprinting to wherever they need to hand it as well.
Exactly, for sure. So we'll jump to it. 19 is Essendon, as we said. just a little bit of off is that when we were trying to decide how we were going to split the picks up, and originally it was going to be yours truly taking the interstate and Essendon, since he refused to take Essendon for his. So this is one of those where the numbers figured out perfectly as well. So at 19, I think Essendon just needs a little more depth in their defensive core in this one. So I think this is a situation where another mid defender, some people have them a little higher than others. I take another Victorian born and I take Chloe Adams with the 19th pick here. I think she brings you depth.
Didn't you already take Chloe Adams?
I don't think so. Oh, nope, I did. Yep. This is where you gotta pay
This
attention
is why
and
I'm
write it
writing all the
down.
picks down.
Yep. So, and I thought I clicked it and I didn't. So, all right. So back to the list again.
Take two.
Actually, you want to know what? You threw out a good one, and I think it would actually be kind of perfect here because, as you said, this young lady had the chance to play some halfback flanker in some of the championships, and I like her. I like her things. I think she's a great kick. Kiera Wiley. I think then if with we'll fix that one there is add some more some midfield possible depth, but the ability to go back and play that halfback flanker spot. So Kiera Wiley will join Essendon here with the 19th pick.
Yeah, she can play inside mid, smart ball user, good player. I think I was mocking them forwards because I think they also need to score more. Yeah, Bonnie Too Good needs some help, but they need to load up at the end bookends mainly in Kiara Wiley, midfielder who can roll back, smart pick, good ball user,
Mm-hmm.
can play inside as well.
Yep.
Big body, versatile, all things that sound really good to have on your football team. Annoyingly so. Had to get that last little drive by in.
It is fine. All right, so we'll shoot back to 20 because it was the bid match for Evie
Maybe
Long.
long. Yeah.
Yep, the wing forward for the Lions Academy matched at 10. So we'll kind of talk this one through. I mean, again, whether they really need a wing right now is not it. It's just more of this just gives another runner to this Brisbane team that's just can run anybody off the ground if they really want to.
Yeah, and she can play key forward as well. She can have time to develop. She's good size. I reckon she might go on ball, and just someone with her size and athleticism on ball is a frightening prospect. I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions have a crack at playing her on ball. But just being able to throw her into a forward line or on the wing with what they've got there, they'll just be like, you know what, pick 20. This is a player too good to pass up at what is pick 20. And then they've got three other academy players coming with their four remaining picks. I'll be interested to see what you do actually here.
Yeah,
But super player.
It'll be interesting because one of the ideas that I had, I just wanted to double check and see if it was possible, and it wasn't. Is as I was looking at potentially a bid for
I
Kiera
think that.
Kiera Bishi,
Ooh,
but unfortunately the Gold Coast Suns would probably match that. So whether they would do that or not would be the question there.
I will tell you right now, the Gold Coast Suns would match that
Oh
and
yeah.
fast.
Yep. Yep. That's what I was kind of thinking on that one. So I
And
was just kind of.
Sienna McMullen as well. The Suns would match a bid on either of them, quick, fast, and in a hurry. They've only got one pick in the second round, but by the time the Lions are back up for the first time in the second round, the Suns are loaded up in the third round, ready to go to match any bid.
Yeah.
So
So what I think I'll probably do is just because and sometimes it may add some spice to it, as I think they do. Honestly, I would if I was the Lions, I would bid for Kiera Bishi here to make the Suns match the bid. So then that would take the Suns pick away there because then if they wanted to, they could play cheat. You could bid for the one you bid for the either of those, and then you can take the other because then Gold Coast
yeah,
would not have the ability to match the next one. So you could, if they wanted to play dirty pool there, they could do that. I'm not going to do it in this situation because I don't think a team would do that. So I'm just trying to look
no
here.
one would ever trade with them again.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that one. I'm just trying to excuse me. You know what? In some situations, I'm gonna pull the same thing that I did with a Geelong pick here, and I know again it's a little bit different,
Yeah,
but I think they go with their local talent. I think they grab Sophie Peters here with the last pick of the first round to give her that ability. Lions Academy player there. I think they snap her up. One less headache that you have to worry about here. So we'll use the last pick of the first round for the Lions to grab their own academy and grab Sophie Peters, their academy prospect. And that is it, sir. That is all 21 picks done in the first round. So we'll rerun it one more time. First pick overall, the Western Bulldogs, Christy Lee Weston Turner, the double hyphen. At number two, to the West Coast Eagles goes Elaine Grigg from the Central Districts Bulldogs in SA. GWS at three picks Brooke Barwick from the Tassie Devils. The Western Bulldogs at 4 take Alicia Piscano from the Eastern Rangers Football Club. Melbourne adds some depth in the defensive side with Jess Wrench of the Greater Western Victoria Rebels. Caitlin Scholl to the Western Bulldogs from the Peel Thunder out in WA. Carlton grab big defender Cleo Budafont from the Giants Academy in New South Wales. Collingwood grabbed Michaela Williamson of the Dandenong Stingrays, followed also by Collingwood grabbing Lilia Keck from the Bendigo Pioneers. St. Kilda grab Emily Gouch from the Sandringham Dragons. The Western Bulldogs then grab Chloe Adams from the Geelong Falcons Football Club. Melbourne then grab Ella Solclum, if I could spit my words out for once, from the Claremont Football Club out in WA. Richmond take Amber Shutty from the Gippsland Power. Georgia Clark goes to the West Coast Eagles from the Tassie Devils. Sarah Grundon from the Calder Cannons goes up to Sydney. Sophie Butterworth joins the Hawthorn Hawks from the Dandenong Stingrays. Bridie O'Rourke of the Bendigo Pioneers goes to her father's club up in Geelong. Piper Window joins the Port Adelaide Power. Kara Wiley from the Western Jets joins the Essendon Bombers Football Club. Evie Long and Sophie Peters will then join the Brisbane Lions to round out the first round there. Sir, an incredibly fun situation here.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to be a little bit different when it comes to our mocks that we both kind of went through, some curveballs that I think we both kind of rated some players in different situations. So your thought on this? I mean, how crazy would it be if the two of us somehow pulled off maybe the closest thing to the first round we could potentially get?
It'd be unusual that two people, one in America and one who spends all his non-social lifetime, he doesn't have a social life, which really helps just doing this kind of stuff. So yeah, it'd be weird. But you look at 3 different draft boards, they vary wildly. You and I have similar-ish ones at times and some different ones at times. I actually wouldn't mind quickly, if we get a chance, even in the next couple of minutes, just quickly going through and comparing what we've done with our mocks. I think it'd be fun and going through different permutations. But
sure. Well, since you're the guest, and since you're the guest and put so much time and effort in, let's start with you, sir. Your mock draft as of right now.
At pick 1, I've gone Christy Lee Weston Turner to the Dogs. At pick 2, Elaine Grigg to West Coast. At pick 3, and I'll defend some reaches as well if I've made a reach.
That's fine.
At pick 3, Brooke Barwick to the GWS. At pick 4, Alicia Pisano to the Dogs. At pick 5, Caitlin Surhoy to Melbourne. I have actually checked the pronunciation. It's Surhoy. I'm glad we haven't butchered that too badly.
Mm-hmm.
At pick 6, Jess Wrench to the Dogs. I'm pretty happy that's a 6. I'm fairly comfortable that will be the top 6. If Caitlin Surhoy can slide to pick 16, I'll be very grateful. That's not happening. I've gone Georgia Clark to Carlton at pick 7. I just think it's a perfect Phoebe McWilliams replacement. Pick 8, I've gone Michaela Williamson to Collingwood. At pick 9, I've gone Emily Goff to Collingwood. I think the flyer on her upside, they really are in dire need of defenders. So the fact that they can bring her along for a couple of years, the defenders are aging, or Ash Bradl's gone. They've got some injury issues as well. I think that being able to bring a couple of players in who can play in the back line, really handy. They can nurture Emily Goff for a couple of years, and she's a special athletic talent. I've gone with Keck to the Saints at pick 10 after a bit on Evie Long. So I think the Saints will be very happy to snap her up. I've gone with Claire Butterfant to the Dogs at 11. I've also gone with the Dogs making a bid on one of only two available All-Australian defenders in Marnie Robinson, the Swans Academy player. And I've got them matching that because the Swans wouldn't mind another medium defender. I think Marnie Robinson is the best medium defender in the pool, just about one of only, again, 2 available All-Australian defenders, because there was a double bottom major, 2 bottom majors, and Laura Stone in the defender. So, if you can get one of the 2 best defenders in the pool in an area full of players you can't get your hands on, Swans won't mind that. They'd be very happy with the fact she slid past 15 in this draft, though, because you just snap her up at 30. But I think you'd take her either way. She's too good for you guys to pass up. Ellis Slocum to Melbourne at 12. Kiara Wiley to Richmond at 13. That is a disturbingly good fit. The midfielder who can play in defence and is just a walking rotation with Isla Sheeran. At pick 14, I've gone with West Coast, and this is a bit of a reach because they've got a couple of players they'd like off the board. I've gone with them taking Tamara Henry. That medium-sized forward is very versatile, very athletic, clearing the ball in hand, 170 centimetres. She can play just about anywhere. Pick 15 is the Swans to tied pick to Marnie Robinson. Hawthorn taking pick 16 for Sophie Butterworth. Geelong taking Isabel Bacon at pick 17. They'll circle back for O'Rourke in the second round after North Melbourne bid on her. Pick 18, Piper Window. If Port Adelaide don't do that, alcohol testing and drug testing will be outside Marvel Stadium awaiting them. I've gone with Keely Fullerton at pick 19. She's small, but she packs a punch on the wing. Bombers can't score, or can't score as well as they'd like to. She's a small forward who hits the scoreboard. Orb can play on the wing and link the play into the forward 50. A really annoyingly good fit there. Pick 20, tied pick, is Evie Long matching St Kilda's bid for Brisbane. And then I've got Brisbane bidding on Sienna McMullen, which will be matched quick, fast, and in a hurry. And then taking Gemma Ramsdale because a ready-to-go medium-sized defender will never go astray given their academy players strengthen the forward line and midfield.
Awesome, awesome. Love it. Absolutely love it. So again, I have not put in the hours that Liam has, but I will give you mine again. I kind of did a couple, but I think one is kind of I had a little bit of an incorrect connection because we had to double check the website because there was some differences on whether GWS had a pick or not, and if I find it funny that the website had two different answers, so we had to confirm this, and so here is my kind of sanitize again, kind of one that's a little bit simple. So here's mine, the latest one that I have put out that I've come up with. Again, unlike you, Christy Lee Weston Turner, the double hyphen at number one to the Western Bulldogs. Number two, I think Brooke Barwick is too hard, too good not to take here for the Western Bulldogs, especially for the West Coast Eagles. I think Coach Pierce would love to have this little Spitfire join her. Here's where it gets a little bit different when it comes to it, because I know some people like Elaine Grigg here at GWS. I like Jess Wrench. I think some help, some depth to help with Elise Parker in the mid, and the fact that she can go defensive, I think is a good situation here for the Giants. I think that's why they maybe take the thought process there. Western Bulldogs, Alicia Piscano, you just can't not take her in this situation. Victorian based. Why not get two absolutely electric forwards to join the Western Bulldogs? I have five. I have Elaine Grigg going to the Melbourne Demons, which is a scary thought process with Eden Zenka
Yep.
and Kate Horup forward, but I think she can fall that far if GWS likes Wrench and Brooke Barwick. Brooke Barwick goes at 2, so that's definitely a possibility. Western Bulldogs at 6, Michaela Williamson of the Dandenong Stingrays. They need they need a little bit of defensive help with some of the losses on the defensive side. The fact she can go defensive, I think, would be a nice addition here. And I'm going to switch to in my original thought process because I've really been going through it. But in my original one, I had Carlton taking Ella Slocum from Claremont here at 7. But I'm going to switch it and actually have Caitlin Surho go here at Carlton for Carlton there. I'm just going to flip the two there because the next two picks, I think Collingwood take Georgia Clark as a helper to Nell Morris Darton, and then also Leila Keck, the small forward, because they need the ability to score. I think defensively they're fine. I think midfield they're really really solid because they've got some rotations. They just need some help scoring goals, and I think these two can step in. Young, how about Lil, and how about Nell Morris Dalton up forward? So then we jump to 11, which would then be Ella Slocum from the Claremont Football Club. We jump to 12, and I have Melbourne taking the father-daughter pick here, then Gemma Rigoni. I think this is one of those where they take this possibility. I know everybody likes to play the games, but sometimes in the women's they just don't do it. And this is one of those I probably potentially could see this happening. I see Richmond bidding for Evie Long, matched by Brisbane. So again, there's pick 20 there for Evie Long, matching that, and then them going, you know what, we'll take Amber Shutt of the Gippsland Power here for the Richmond Tigers. I think West Coast reach for Georgie Cleaver here at 15. I think they want to get her wrapped up. She's a high caliber talent. You want to get her at that situation. I still think there's some good WA talent that'll still be available with their next pick. I know, again, playing the game, it probably is not going to be that way, but I'm kind of going with taking the local talent when they need to. Sarah Grundon from the Calder Cannons at 16 for Sydney. I'm a little bit of a reach here, but only because there's a lot of talls that Hawthorn lost. So I think it's probably not a bad idea to help Wales in the ruck. Angelique Risen from the East Fremantle Football Club is a ruck forward that I think you could slip in there. It gives you some depth. They can rotate at the full forward and ruck position, and I think that would not be a bad idea to give them some height and some ability to mark it forward. Geelong, as I did in my earlier one, Brady O'Rourke, the father-daughter from the Bendigo Pioneers. Piper Window, Port Adelaide Power at 18. And then I have maybe this is a little bit of a stretch. Maybe this is a little bit of a stretch, but I thought I, you have some really good players, but I agree with you. I think some forward help for holy crap, Bonnie
Too
Too
good.
Good. So I'm going to take Keely Fullerton of the Bendigo
That's who I had as
Pioneers. I
well.
think, yep, exactly. I think this would be a great addition there. And then
Annoyingly so.
exactly. 20 is Evie Long's mash bid. So then Brisbane would get their second pick. And then I have them taking their local product of Sophie Peters here to round out my draft pick on that again. So some differences between the two of us again. You've put in a few more hours.
Conclusion,
You've
you're much nicer than me. I'm a cold-hearted. I'm not taking Cleaver until the last pick I have to if I'm West Coast. I'm not taking Rigoni if I'm Melbourne because I can match any bid inside the first 2 rounds. And in fact, I mocked her at 40 in the end because of a
Mhm.
match not long after their second pick.
Yeah, I don't know if
I
it's
am
being I don't know if it's
cold-hearted.
being nice. I think it's just more of it's like sometime I've noticed when it comes to the AFLW draft is that they're not as ruthless as the men's where they're going to get everything they possibly can and then basically make other teams do something for them not to just absolutely load up. So I agree with you there. Like I said, a couple of them that I think it's pie in the sky. I think I agree with you. I think they probably don't take the father daughter. They wait till somebody match it and then they match the bid with a pick later. So then it doesn't cost them as much and you get a higher talented player potentially there. So Liam, this has been fantastic. I love talking AFLW with you, and you and I have been going back and forth for probably the last 3 weeks, just going through ideas and talking through this. But this has been an absolute blast. I love chatting with you. I love your passion for it. I love what you are doing at Soaring to New Heights with the Hawks podcast. So just keep up the great work over there. And again, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast today.
Pleasure as always, Donnie, and likewise, your work is absolutely terrific. Love having someone who cares about the W as well. Obviously, Timmy and I with Soaring to New Heights, far from impartial content about the Hawthorn AFLW crew. Your holistic and questionable impartiality is also very, very, very good content as well. I listen to every episode about the W while I'm at work doing some legal stuff. So I really do enjoy listening to your work as well, and you're an absolute credit to everyone in the US as well getting behind the AFLW. So this has been an absolute blast. I can't wait for Monday. If you're a Hawks fan, get on board with our space on Twitter as well. We'll be going live talking throughout the draft. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what clubs do. I will be gladly retiring, making the spreadsheet that I've been manning pretty much that has pretty much been singed into my eyeballs for the last 3 weeks. But yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try and get a full mock draft not long after this comes out. I can't wait for the draft. I can't wait for next season. Can it be August already, please?
I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for another episode of Donnie's Disposals. Again, this should be out before the draft. So, I'd love to hear what you guys think of this. What's your thought process? Who do you think your team's going to have? Please let me know down in the comment section and on my socials. We will begin back again, more off-season supporter series chats. And again, we will cover the draft, both for the men's and the women's, after the Christmas holiday. So keep an eye on that. More on Donnie's Disposals. Thank you again for listening. We'll be back again with more footy action very, very soon.